Hello and welcome to day 106 of 365 days of Facebook Live. My name is Jessica Lozano and I am a relationship and feminine embodiment mentor and priestess. So welcome. If you're here, say hello. If you're watching the replay, put replay. I would love to start making this a little bit more conversational about my lives, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. I would love to just start having a conversation with you and getting to know you and answering your questions or understanding if this live landed for you, if it left you with realizations and aha moments, or like, you know what, there was something here that I felt it and I'm ready to make my next move, or I feel like this really landed and I feel more confident and certain about my direction and my relationship and how to move forward with my life as a woman who is sovereign, who wants the love of her life and knows that I need to live a soul-led life. Or in my relationship, I know what to do next. I know like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do next. This is, I understand why this is happening in my relationship, in my sexuality and my sensuality and all of the things. So I'm gonna start talking slower. That's one of the things I've realized this past 105 days is I talk a little fast, and then that requires me to my thoughts are going faster than my mouth, or my mouth is going faster than my thoughts mostly, and I end up getting lost somehow in what I'm talking. So I'm going to try to slow down and see how that works, see if that helps me stay grounded and stay very in tune with what I'm delivering. Okay, so I had a beautiful question with one of my clients, or she was feeling this feeling of wondering if she was seeking for validation from me, or if this was like a validation from within herself, right? She was making a decision about whether to do an Akashic record reading or not. And so her concern was the validation piece, because she's really learning how to seek validation, which is why I titled this description for my girlies who are working on self-validation. How do you know if you are outsourcing and you are looking for someone's approval, for whatever decision you're making? And when are you making a sovereign choice, even though you are still communicating with other people? And there's a very fine line distinction, and I want to talk about that and why it's important when it comes to your relationships, to any aspect of your life, your relationships, your coaches, your relationship with God and spirit too. Like, it's important to have this down, because you cannot live your most fullest expression if you're always outsourcing. That's including, it's going to be a little controversial. It's gonna be a little controversial, because I don't know if everybody believes this, but you cannot always be outsourcing to God, also to your spirit guides, to the ascended masters, to readings. You can't always be outsourcing to it, because that means you're not believing in your own power. And as a human being, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of potentiality. There have been many masters before us that have proven that. And there are many masters living right now, mentors, coaches, people who are doing things that you're like, wow, how did they do that? That same thing that they have is within you. And when we're seeking validation on somebody else, or when we're outsourcing validation, we are saying that we don't have that same power within us. We don't have that same capability to make those decisions. So I'm going to make sure I get a stamp of approval in order for me to know that whatever decision I'm making is the right decision. And even if that right decision comes with consequences, this is part of being a sovereign person. There's a lot of self-responsibility, and there's a lot of feeling of like, oh my God, if I make this decision, that means it's all on me. right? It's all on me, and I have nobody else to blame. I have to only look at myself. If the decision that I made didn't turn out to be like as expansive or as ROI or as whatever it was, I actually maybe fucked up a little bit, but that's okay. Because you know what? That's really fucking liberating. Because if you know where to point accurately, you know where to point at yourself. Like, okay, how did I come to this outcome from this decision that I make? How? Well, let me see what I did. Where did I go wrong? And then you get to do better on the next one. So when you are seeking external validation, there's really comes down to one thing. You are looking for someone, whether it's a mentor, whether it's your partner, whether it's your mother or your sisters or your siblings or a family member or friends or peers on the internet or God or spirit guides or your mentor, your coach, I think I already said that, to put a stamp of approval on whatever action you want to take. And it can be anything. It could be the clothes that you're wearing. It could be, a financial decision of buying something. It could be about, when I was really heavy in this in relationship with seeking validation with my ex, it was like I had to make sure that my ex was okay, that he was okay, my partner at the time, that he was okay with me going out to dinner with somebody, or he was okay with me wearing something, or he was okay with me making anything that was in my own life. Like, I remember the first time that I said, you know what, I'm going to listen to myself, was with a food and allergies test. And he was like giving me all the facts of why I should not do it. And this was the first time where I put the stamp of approval on myself, and I didn't need his stamp of approval to do a test. And guess what? That test, I was like, I'm ready. I'm willing to take the risk of putting this $250 to take this food and allergies test and see what happens afterwards. I'm willing to take that gamble on myself and my own decision, which isn't even a gamble. It's an investment on me. And regardless of what other people think, they may think it's a gamble that what I'm doing, I believe it's an investment in me, and I'm willing to invest and take that risk in me, because even when you're betting on yourself, you're still betting. You're still putting in that full-on investment on yourself. And I'm willing to take that. And guess what? That's when I discovered that I had gluten sensitivity. But it took me putting my own stamp of approval on myself and not needing somebody else's stamp of approval, right? So when you are seeking outsourcing validation, you are very much making sure that everybody puts a stamp on that decision that you're making. It can be anything. It could be from something so small as to what you're going to wear, or it can be really big as into buying a home, like where it is a long-term commitment, right? It could be very big as in something in your relationship, like whether to stay with this person or to not, right? Whether to move. It could be really big decisions, big financial commitments that you want to make, right? So when you're seeking external validation, that's what it really is. It's a simple question of, am I needing this person to validate my decision, even my own emotions? This can even come down to validating your own emotions and your own experience. So when you're outsourcing and seeking validation from others, you're saying anything that I feel, including that, or anything that I want to do, I need someone else to approve of me. To validate that my experience is real, that my experience is true, that my experience and what I'm offering in this relationship, what I feel is really good to me, is true, right? It's like I need someone else to put that stamp for me to tell me that how I'm showing up in the relationship is good, right? And if they don't tell me that it's good, then I start to waver. So that's the other piece of this. That that if somebody doesn't align with doesn't approve of your emotional experience, of the current experience that you're having, or the decision that you want to make, and if they don't agree with you, you start to wobble, you start to shake under your legs start to tremble, and the foundation under you starts to crumble, and you start to change your decision, you start to go into a lot of self-doubt, then you know that you are seeking for external validation, not your own stamp of approval of yourself. And again, this is even including outsourcing your validation to spirit, whatever you practice. And I remember having, first of all, I remember when I was in this really place of like trying to figure out what I was going to be doing for my career, really. I really wanted to connect with my spirit guides because I felt that they had the answers that I didn't have. That they would tell me the things that I needed to do because I had no idea what to do. I didn't have the courage to do what I really wanted to do. Anyways, after some time, like consistently, which was a great step in the direction that I did need to take. But as I kept seeking outside of me, seeking validation from spirit guides, seeking validation from Akashic records, seeking being able to read the Akashic records myself and doing all these things. I remember one time going into the records, I think it was the records or maybe it was my own, asking my own spirit guides. I can't remember exactly what it was. And they were like, can you just like stop like seeking validation from us and can you trust yourself? It was something along those lines. I'm like, oh, damn. Well, damn, that was intense. Well, damn, okay. Clearly, I'm seeking validation from them because it was a consistent, I need to connect with them. And it was from this desperateness. It was from this place of attachment of like, I think they have the answer that I don't have. They have, and is it true that we can ask for guidance and that they probably have answers that we don't have on as we are evolving in our life? Yes. That's why we have readings. That's why you connect with God, because there is a divine guidance that they do give you. And you have to learn to trust yourself. You have to learn to trust yourself, or you will be constantly wavering. You will be constantly falling over in the 3D, in the real world. The human experience is about integrating the spirit and the physical together, not by just being physical and not being spiritual, or just being spiritual and not being the physical. You need both, including when you're on this path of sacred union, whether you're calling it in or you're in the relationship, it is both. It is the physical and it is the spiritual that bring you together. This is what makes this world so fucking amazing. Like this planet Earth, right? So that's the validation part when you're seeking out. Okay, now, how do we know that we're still like making a sovereign decision, but not being in this place where like you're too independent, where you're not receiving any advice, or you're not, you're being open about what people share with you. So how do you know that you are making a decision that's sovereign and not seeking and asking for wisdom and guidance because you're relying on them? First thing here is, on this path of growth and evolution, we have people, mentors, friends, family members, colleagues that have a certain level of wisdom. And when I mean power, I mean like a power of, there's something in them that I want to calibrate to, right? There's something within them that I respect, that I admire, that I feel that they have an answer that maybe a code that I haven't really unlocked yet. And I want to know about them. I want to know more about them. That's why we hire mentors. That's why we hire coaches. That's why we have friends that are in resonance with us. That's why we have our partner that we want to live for the rest of our life with, because there's something within each other that gives us access to something more, right? My partner gives me access to something more, to that grounded energy, to that stability, to that masculine provision, insight, and freaking logic that's so like non-emotional, that cuts through my drama and is like, oh yeah, he like always brings me back down, right? He has that code in him, and I love that so much about him, and he helps me access that within me, or helps me to calibrate to that when I need that adjustment. So what I want to say about this, that it's really important for you to know who you're going to for advice, wisdom, knowledge, experience, whatever it is, you want to know who is it. You have to be very discerning on who you go to. Very discerning. That they are a person that can just give you what you're asking and have no attachment with the action that you take. So they're not trying to manipulate you into making a decision. And so that you can actually receive the wisdom and the guidance, the calibration that you really want. And within that, you're like, okay, I'm receiving this is what I feel with this decision on my own. I'm breaking it down. Then I'm reaching out to my mentor. I'm reaching out to my partner. I'm reaching out to my friend. I'm reaching out to a colleague. I'm reaching out to God. I'm reaching out to my spirit guides so that I can receive the information and I can make a solid decision. I can be like, whew, got goosebumps everywhere. Okay. Based on all the information that I received, this is what I'm going to do. Here's my own stamp of approval. Jessica Lozano approved. Boom. Which, by the way, even when you receive messages from God and spirit guides and Akashic records, you can say, no. I remember I heard someone for the first time ever say this, like if you're specifically with she was creating programs and things like that. It's like you can ask for guidance and then you can receive it. And you can say, you know what, that doesn't feel good to me. Something else, please. And you can receive something else. And I feel like that was like a beautiful way of saying like, yeah, we do have control over what we want to do and what we don't want to do. And if something is really meant for us to do, you will be persisted with that decision. That decision will not leave you. That desire will not leave you. It really won't. If something is really meant for you, which is part of your karmic, in a positive dharma, either a karmic thing or a dharma thing, it will not leave you. So let me just make sure. Yeah. So that this is where you're in. Usually if we're seeking out information, wisdom, advice, point of view, perceptions, knowledge, something, we are in a state of confusion or a state of discovery. One or the other. Confusion means you want more clarity. Discovery means you are expanding and you're looking to see which one is going to be the right path for you, right? You're in one or these two. So it can feel like you're seeking validation from someone else, which is what my client said to me. She's like, I don't know if I'm seeking validation from you or what it is, but this is what's happening. So I just feel called to share it with you. And because she's on the path of really learning how to self-validate and to really trust herself. So I gave her this explanation that I'm giving to you because it's important to understand that even in the place of our own sovereign path, we need other people. We need each other. We each have codes of wisdom, of things, of knowledge, of whatever it is that we don't have, that somebody else has, that we can calibrate up to, or that we just need to know what to do because you really don't know what to do. And you can also receive that and say like, okay, this, I can hear that, but that doesn't feel right. For example, if I'm going to go, my back is bothering me, I'm going to go seek a chiropractor because I don't have that knowledge and wisdom to tell my partner how to crack my back or how to crack my own back. I'm going to go to them and they can give me exercises to do that. Maybe I say, no, thank you, this doesn't feel really good. Or, okay, yes, I'm going to do these exercises, right? We need each other. Wisdom is part of that too. Knowledge and experience is part of that, right? So it's important to understand that in this place of being a self-validated woman, we still are going to need other people. We're always going to need each other. You cannot survive on earth without each other. We need each other at some way or some way, shape, or form. We need each other. We're meant to bond. Humans are meant to bond. We're meant to be in a community. We're meant to be together. We're meant to grow together, to have support all around us. So if you're seeking for clarity, if you're seeking for like oh yes, this is it, that's okay. You can ask all the questions you want and then you come back to yourself and say, based on this, This is what I'm going to do. And I will say, sometimes sometimes we do want that validation. Sometimes, like, I remember asking my business coach about something that I wanted to do. And I was like, I just really need you to tell me that it's okay for me to do this. It was like something new that I was doing. I was feeling a little uncertain about it. And I kind of knew that's what I needed to do. When I asked her, she's like, you have full permission to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, thank you. Sometimes we have that. Sometimes I ask Ron if I could do something like more along the lines of, sometimes when it comes to spending money, sometimes when it comes to when we'll go out to dinner, it's like, can I have another drink? You know, I don't know what the budget is, type of thing. Sometimes it's like, are you okay with me going out for this or that? Like, wanting to know their opinions, you know, like what he feels. I'm trying to think what else. Actually, that brings me to, okay, now let's move the conversation to why is this important in relationships, in any kind of relationship that you have, in a relationship with yourself, in the relationship with your partner, in the relationship with God and the ascended masters and your spirit guides, and, you know, all your high vibrational entities that you work with, spiritual guides, all the things, business mentors and coaches. How does this relate to that? Because you get to, number one, let's talk about specifically relationships. You get to release your partner off the hook from you needing them to always give you that stamp of approval. So this neediness really goes away. There creates more freedom and liberation. And you get to now experience yourself how you want to experience, and see if your partner either matches up to it if you're in this wobbly place, or just have more freedom in the relationship, more fun, more expansion, right? Because when you are making decisions for yourself and trusting yourself, you're living really your soul-led life, and that's always going to be more expansive. So you let them off the hook, and there's on the back part, right? You release needing their stamp of approval. And again, this brings you back to really taking responsibility for yourself. But this is a superpower. This is a superpower for every single human being who can actually take radical responsibility. Because that's where it allows for growth. It allows for growth. It allows for growth. And you don't build resentment towards other people. There was a decision that I was wanting to make for my next business coach back in like 2018 or something like that. And there was this one person that I wanted to work with, and I really wanted his approval from it because I was feeling uncertain, I guess. It wasn't his approval. Let me put it this way. I wanted to hear what he had to say, because now we were like, I guess we were living together, and I really wanted to hear what he would say. I was making a big decision. I was really excited about it. And I think I did have some wobbly energy, because if not, I would have really just followed what I felt was right. And then he said Ron's advice, which is always his advice, because this is how he works, is look at reviews and look at all of that and see, do more homework, do more research. Which is not like me. That is not how I buy. I buy based on, you are speaking to my soul. I want to take action. So I did that, and I went with somebody else because logically it seemed more like a logical decision. So I made that, did not receive the outcome that I wanted from it, the ROI that I wanted from it. And I started to build resentment on Ron because I outsourced and needed his validation versus my own. After that, then I kind of swung a little bit to the other side, where it became a little bit more independent, not sovereign, because sovereignty knows that you need to talk to each other, and there is interdependence. Like, sovereignty is an interdependent, and it's like independence and interdependence all put in under one umbrella, because sovereignty isn't about being independent. It's about knowing that you can make your own decisions, and knowing that everybody else has a power in them too. You can calibrate to each other's power and work with each other's power. So I swung over to the other side and made a decision without talking to Ron, really. And that created a whole disaster for us. It was a mess. It was a big mess. But I learned from it. And after that, I became to this place to make my statement number here too, why it's important for relationships, because you get to make decisions together, because power meets power in this, right? When you're really sovereign, it's like power meets power. I see the power in you, you see the power in me, and we're having a conversation from this place. Because knowing that whatever decision you're going to make is going to be for the highest good, because there are certain things that you agreed on, because you're talking about it, because all these things, and you get to sit down and say, power meets power. Okay, let's make a decision, like in a relationship, right? And this also means that if these two powers aren't compatible, then you get to make a decision and to lead yourself out, right? So that is my teaching session for you that really helped today, to really focus on you and to focus on what would benefit you and how to talk to you. Like this was really good. All these past 100 days has been really great in understanding myself and how to be a better teacher. So take that in. Let me know how that lands. Let me know if that makes a lot of sense. Let me know if that helps you with your path of growth and evolution, with how also you relate and connect with God. So even with that power meets power point, like if you go to God, if you go to spirit guides and say, okay, here, this is where it is, where it's at. Let's work through this and let's communicate. Show me this, show me this, show me that, whatever it is. It's going to be a more powerful co-creation, right? It's going to be a better creation that you are creating versus destruction. Like when I spoke with Ron about this next decision that I wanted to make, power makes power, I cannot tell you the level of calibration that happened, the fortifying of our relationships, and the strong support that I felt on my spine. It was incredible. It was really incredible. And it elevated our relationship. It really did. And because of that, I'm getting the best results from the container that I decided that I really wanted to be in. I'm getting such great results, right? This is when power meets power. So yeah. So when you go to God with this, when you go to your spirit guides with that, it's like power meets power. Boom. Stamp of approval from you. When you go to your girlfriends, it's like power meets power. Okay. Stamp of approval. When you go to your mentor, your coach, power meets power. My own stamp of approval. At the end, I get to decide what is best for me. At the end, you always get to decide. You always get to decide. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.